Hello, it's Isaac Berg. My student ID number is 920999795. If that's more helpful. If you're watching this, that means you clicked the link I emailed or carbon copied to you, and in that email you also might have noticed that the subject line was entitled "My Resignation" in all capitals. Obviously that was dramatic, but I did that because it sounds a lot more official and considered than dropping out, which sounds less official and considered. But it is what I'm doing. I am dropping out. And I wanted to explain why that is. And I know I don't owe that to you, but I feel like if I am going through with it, then I owe it to myself to be able to explain why I'm going through with it. I also felt like a letter was too formal, and saying nothing would make me feel guilty, so I settled on a film, kind of as a culminating goodbye to the craft. So, I never really connected with movies growing up. I mean, I like them, but it wasn't one of those innate, born with it passions you always hear the big directors talk about. Like, I wasn't spending every waking moment making short films or watching old cassettes or anything. I wasn't. And maybe I should have remembered that when I got older and, changed my trajectory accordingly, but it's not really how life works. So anyways, when I got to undergrad, I had this roommate my sophomore year who was this complete movie fiend. And he wasn't going to do anything creative with his life. He just really liked watching movies to procrastinate. And he actually had pretty good taste for someone who wanted to be an accountant. So I started watching a lot of movies with him. And then he dropped out. So I started watching a lot of movies without him, and soon enough, watching movies is all I was doing. Like, we're talking 3-4 a day. It was crazy. I was like a movie sponge, or like a squeegee, or whatever. And that felt good. Really good. It was my drug. I'd get high off it. And I think as time went on, I sort of tricked myself into believing that the high I got from watching movies was a genuine passion for movies. But I think what I was actually reacting to was the feeling of actually enjoying something. Like it could have been botany or hot rods or game theory, and I would have been equally as happy so long as I was passionate about something. Because up to that point, I felt like I had no passion at all in my life about anything. So honestly, I was just relieved to have found meaning in something, and movies were that something I sort of latched onto, if that makes sense. They were like my crutch. And I wanted movies to be my passion so badly, I sort of leaned into it more and started making them. And honestly, I really didn't know if my stuff was any good. And I'm not just saying that is like a humble thing. I just really didn't know if my movies offered anything redeemable whatsoever. So as a way to try to figure that out, I applied to film school, because that would at least give me a sense if I had, talent or potential or some sign of something at least. And I remember during my interview to get in here, the admissions person said that my film reel was like a three-headed monster of Eisenstein, Ozu, and the Coen brothers, which was insane, because like if someone wrote a New Yorker profile of me, that's exactly how I would want the reporter to describe my movies. And and someone actually did. And when I got in, that sort of validated everything I was doing up to that point. Like finally something outside of me was buying into the dream I had been selling myself. I felt seen, so I enrolled. And taking the loan sucked, but it felt justified, and I moved here, and I met a lot of very nice, very talented people, and I learned a lot the last 2 years. I really did. But I think going into this year, I just hit a wall with it. There wasn't one defining moment. It was just, I guess, my passion for movies, or I guess my perceived passion for movies started running out. Probably because it was never really there to begin with. You're probably getting the point at this point. The long and the short of it is that I'm much more in love with the idea of making movies than actually making movies, and if I have to actively convince myself to be in love with making movies, then maybe it's best to stop trying altogether. And it hurts. But I feel like if I can swallow it now, I can be cool with it. But what I don't want is to be 5, 8, 13, 20 years down the road and have the degree and still have this debt and still be trying to convince myself that this is what I want to be doing. Because knowing me, I feel like that would really hurt. And I don't want to lie about having the answer. So, this is not defeat. It's just evolution. This is how the cookie's crumbling. So, on the off chance you're still listening to me, I want to thank you for this opportunity, whatever part you played in that. I really, sincerely have appreciated the last 2 years. And, I guess I'll see you out there. In the world. Roll the credits.